For more on doping athletes and their impact on global sport, I am joined by Seth Brenzweig. He's founder and managing partner of the law firm Berenzweig Leonard. Seth's specialties vary, but representing corporate clients to athletes as well. Welcome, Seth. What is going on here? Doping all around the world. Is the money, the stakes so high for these athletes? Some of these you represent in your law firm.
Yes, and I think that it is really a scandal of international scale and of major historic proportions. This is the biggest scandal in Olympic history. And I think that you're pointing to a lot of the pressures that come to bear in creating this kind of a unique and historic sort of problem. You have major funds that are going in and corporate sponsors. But really, I think that this case has an additional factor which is unique, which is the alleged historic state involvement of Russia. There was a 325-page committee report that was submitted to the governing body in this matter, and it alleged a historic broad conspiracy within Russia involving the Russian government officials that helped to feed along and breed this violation. So this is something that feeds along a lot of the pressures that we've seen in history, but with unique historic dimensions here.
Yeah, even allegations of the Russian Secret Service intelligence community involved are quite incredible. So
exactly.
Banning athletes, as has just happened, and fining countries,
right.
Does that really make a difference when so much is at stake and doping seems to be easier?
Well, I think that really most would believe, especially within the governing bodies, that the answer is yes. Nothing less than the integrity of the sport and the Olympic Games is at stake here. The Russian government, of course, has come in and disputed the allegations, and President Putin has already asserted that he wants to put a target on the IOC for the meeting that was just noted for next Tuesday. So there'll be a lot of developments here, but it really seems to...
Do you see that being overturned by the...
I really don't. I think that the one possibility is that the IOC next week could allow a small door to open for some select athletes to come in, but they won't be able to run under the Russian flag, which is unprecedented.
Yeah, this brings me to my next point, a very weird scenario where some Russian athletes could compete in the Rio Games, but under a sort of flag, a neutral flag, whatever that is, because they haven't, they haven't been involved in doping, so why should they be penalized? I can't think of a precedent, and would that happen?
Well, as you've correctly noted, this is completely unprecedented in the history of the Olympic Games. We've never seen a situation like this, so we're really stepping on territory that we've never seen before. Individuals that are going to potentially be denied the right to go forward can file an appeal with an international arbitration court, but we'll have to wait and see what happens next week. In the meantime, we're really not going to have all the full details until we hit what happens with the results coming up this coming Tuesday.
So let's say you're representing the Russian government in this. What would your advice be for them, apart from, don't get involved in what that you're alleged to have been involved in?
Well, that first of all, that would be a tough client. But I think that what I would basically say to them is that you really have to rehabilitate your reputation, and you have to demonstrate that you really are coming clean. This is a relic, a holdover from the old days of the Soviet Union, and there has to be.
But it's not just Russia. I mean, the U.S. I mean, Lance Armstrong.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we have athletes in countries that have really crossed over the ethical line here. So certainly they cannot be singled out. However, there are things that are unique to the Russian system. There are allegations that 2 anti-doping officials in Russia lost their lives within 2 weeks of each other, and we can't sit here and speculate why that was, but there are 3 individuals who were involved in this investigation that fled from the country because they were in fear for their lives. Were they right or wrong? You and I will never know, but there is a lot of heat going on this scandal.
I remember the movie Rocky IV. Okay, so let's say you're representing athletes who haven't been tainted by this doping scandal, but live and work obviously for the Russian nation when it comes to Olympics. What's your advice to them?
I would say focus heavily on next Tuesday, state your case, and make sure that you're able to show some kind of a filing and demonstrate that you're clean. There are a lot of innocent people that are going to really be falling by the wayside here. This has sparked an international debate of what's fair, and even the IOC has said that we're going to have a very controversial, delicate balancing between broad justice and individual rights. So I would tell them, wait for Tuesday, try to get some information in there, and be ready to file an appeal with the International Tribunal to be able to demonstrate that they should be able to go. But as you've said, this is absolutely unprecedented in the history of Olympics.
The Olympics without Russian Federation, quite incredible. Seth.
Unbelievable.
Berenzweig, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
You bet.